Hi guys! Hello, 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 hello! Okay, good day guys. Welcome to today on Princess Anu TV, guys. It's nice having you guys once more on this live stream. And in today's edition, we are going to be talking about 7 factors that can cause emergencies, that can cause crashes. I know that there are a lot of factors when you watch accident investigations, when you watch or you read up files, you get to discover that there are so many factors that actually cause emergencies, the crashes. Tapiko, welcome. But we are just going to be touching 7 today. Let's keep it a little bit simple. Let's talk about things that make people have serious crashes, emergencies on board, because not every crash, not every emergency leads to a crash. Some emergencies happen and the pilots are still able to maneuver, come and land, or the student pilots too are still able to maneuver and come and land. So we are talking about 7 factors responsible for. But by the way, guys, if you're new here, this is Princess Anu TV. We talk about aviation, motivation, and adventure. And if you've not subscribed, let me give you a minute silence. Because I wonder what you're waiting for. Come on. Click on the subscribe button and the bell. Yes, Climax, you're the second today. Anyways, welcome aboard. Don't forget, click. I said you should click. Just click on the subscribe button and the bell. Click on that bell. So that whenever I come live, you'll be able to see me. Whenever we have anything on the channel, upload videos, community posts, anything whatsoever, you will be able to see it. So now we are going to be going straight. We're not going to be waiting for latecomers today. We will not wait for them today. So anyways, let's be starting, guys. Very, very important. Guys, don't forget, as usual, give the video a thumbs up, share with your friends, your loved ones, lovers of aviation. Obviously, we are all in this together. So the first one is negligence. Negligence is one of the factors that cause both student pilots, airline pilots, even ground staffs to actually that makes emergency to occur. And emergency, you begin to hear mayday, you begin to hear that, oh, something just popped out. Jonathan, welcome. You begin to hear that this happened, that happened. This is because most of the time because of negligence. Now, negligence can be like somebody being careless or trying to omit something. And you know that in aviation, there is usually no room for I'm going to say there's no room for like mistakes, because there's no parking space in the air, and if you make any mistake, you're endangering the lives of thousands on board, hundreds on board, at least hundreds on board, and it's bad. Sometimes not just hundreds on board. Consider the people that are on ground. Consider the people also that are flying in that airspace with that particular aircraft. So this aircraft is on board. Yes, you've done something, you've neglected something in this aircraft, but also you have hundreds of aircraft also flying, and if something happens to this one can miss his way and hit somebody else, causing a very serious crash on board. So you see that negligence is something that we need to be intentional in everything we are doing as aviators. Negligence. So what if the plane engine fails and there's no water on ground? What does the pilot do? You look for a place. They teach us these things in first landing. You look for a place depending on the space, the size, the shape of the place, the size. There are a lot of factors you look at when you want to first land. You don't just carry yourself, you don't just also think of ditching. Ditching is when a pilot goes to land in water, like a pilot's trying to ditch. But ditching is not always the case, because what of instances, just like you said, where there's no water, you have to look for a good place where you know that, one, you can at least get help. Two, the space is good that you can land. You have enough space for your aircraft to stop before anything happens. There are a lot of factors you look at when you're doing first landing. So they will actually teach you in flight school anyways, if you've not been taught. But today we're just discussing some of this. Negligence is bad. When an engine fails, there are other factors that can cause it, and we are still going to be talking about that today. But for now, we are on negligence. Please, guys, as student pilots, as upcoming aviators, even if you're not a pilot, there are dispatchers that neglect things. You're supposed to calculate the weight and balance. You did not calculate it very well. You just neglected it, and probably the captain, which is supposed to cross-check. Maybe his mind is not there, he's trying to like do a lot of things at once, which in quotes is not supposed to be. It's not like it's good, but he's trusting you as a flight dispatch to make sure that every single thing is okay. And he comes on board and discovers that everything is shaky, CG limit is going up and down, and the load is moving from one corner to the other, and that aircraft has a crash or goes into a state of emergency. Guys, negligence. There's no part in aviation that accepts these things. So we should take our jobs very, very seriously to avoid anything that can cause emergency crashes on board, because a lot of lives, and when you think of those lots of lives on board, think of the families of those people, think of the families of these other persons. Is going to help us. Number 2 tip I have, or number 2 factor that I have here, is assumption. As student pilots, we do these things a lot. You come to the aircraft and they say, oh, is there fuel? You're like, oh sir, there's fuel. Nobody flew the aircraft today. Who told you? Never assume. Assumption is costly. In fact, I call it deadly assumption, because you don't have to, you should not assume. There is no room for assumption, because that thing you're assuming, you just enter the aircraft and say no, everything is fine with the aircraft. Do you know that they even teach us most of the time that before taking controls from the next person, do your pre-flight again, check everything, because that person might not have parked the aircraft in good shape. So you don't want to be in that curve of assuming, telling yourself that, oh, everything is fine. It's even my friend that flew the aircraft. Oh, it's even so person that flew the aircraft. And you just jump into the aircraft, and before you know, you start having issues. And let me tell you the funny thing. When you start having issues when you fly that aircraft, they are not going to blame the previous person that flew it. They are going to blame you, because you signed out the aircraft that it is fit for flight. So these are some things that in aviation you need to be serious. You need to put your mind there. Am welcome on board. You need to put your mind there. You need to be sure that this is actually what you want. Now, number 3 that I have among the factors, number 3 factor is bypass in maintenance. The engineers are usually the biggest culprits in this. I'm sorry to say that. If you're an aircraft maintenance engineer here, but seriously, I'm being serious about these things, guys. Maintenance bypass. I've watched a lot of air crash investigations that they will say they were supposed to change so part of the aircraft, but the maintenance department, they boycotted the whole thing, or the company says, oh, we don't have enough resources, don't worry, we can skip it for the next 20 hours or for the next 100 hours. And before you know what's happening, at that flight that they were going for, after skipping it for the next 20 hours or 100 hours, they had a very serious emergency. Remember one of the accident investigation lessons that we talked about? You know, we had like 5 episodes. Remember one where the roof actually went out? DJ Asoma, welcome on board. Guys, don't forget, give this video a thumbs up, like thumbs up. If you've not subscribed, subscribe. If you've not shared, like share. So remember the one that the top of the aircraft, the top of the fuselage, like went out, and they were just hanging on a thread. A lot of instances. Or was it the one that they were supposed to change the propeller and they did not change the propeller, and before you know what happened, the propeller cut off in flight? See, if you are part of the persons maintaining an aircraft, taking care of an aircraft, try as much as possible to do your job well. Let me tell you why. Even if you feel, oh, what concerns me, I'm going to sign off to the next person. Whatever happens with that aircraft, you will not forgive yourself. You're going to keep thinking about it for the rest of your life, because lives have been lost, destinies have been destroyed, people have gone, and so you will keep on regretting that particular incident for you not doing your job to maintain that aircraft in the right manner. So please, guys, if you're an aircraft maintenance engineer, if you're in the process of learning, put in your best to learn these things properly, so that you don't make mistakes on the board. There are a lot of things that can cause emergencies, that can cause crashes. We are just dealing with these 7 things, and if you see yourself faulting in any of them, please try as much as possible to adjust, because just like they always say, the saying goes, you never can tell when it's going to happen. Today you feel, oh, no, it's going to happen, let's just boycott it, let's just bypass the maintenance, let's just do it, and that's the day it's likely going to happen. So guys, let's always cross-check, recheck let's just make sure we do our maintenance properly. And also, if you're not in charge of the maintenance, do well to cross check. Don't assume the aircraft functioning well. Check all the lights. Make sure that fuel pump is pumping. I know we face a lot of things, so even as student pilot, make sure the fuel pump is pumping. Make sure everything is functioning properly. Make sure you're seeing whatever you're seeing in tachometer, make sure it's functioning properly. Anything you're seeing, cross check, recheck. Let them say you're wasting time. That is part of why you need to even come earlier for your flight, so that you can do all these checks properly. Climax: if a pilot crashes a plane and he is still alive, who pays the charges and who takes the blame? Insurance is there, the company is there to pay the charges and to take the blame, but you rarely find instances. Hi, Gracified Network, welcome. You rarely find instances where the pilot is alive. Let me be telling you the truth. That's the truth about it. You rarely, as in, before you can find the pilot even being alive in any air crash, I'm telling you, this one would have been okay. There's this one that I watched, this aircraft investigation I watched about the hijack. There was an hijack with I think it was Ethiopian. I think it was an Ethiopian aircraft. That it was there's a man. It was actually a man that was the captain of the flight, and some, will I say, some guys that were not so good hijackers in quotes, and they hijacked the aircraft and they landed in one beach, close to a beach. I think a beach in Cosmos, something like that. Cosmos or something. That was where they landed. If you see that kind of case, the pilot actually survived. The pilot survived because, and a lot of persons died due to their own fault, because they inflated their life jackets on board the aircraft. They didn't wait for them to land first before they inflated, because of fear and all those things. And so the pilot survived. In that kind of case, it's clear that it was not the pilot's fault. There was an hijack, a lot of things happened. Before you can see a situation where the pilot is alive, guys, is rare. And even if the pilot is alive, findings are going to go over and over again. Most of the time, the company pays the charges. Insurance company also pays the charges, depending on what occurred during flight. Because obviously, the flight recorder is going to take note of every single thing, and they are going to play it. They are going to keep going over it over and over again till they find out exactly what actually caused that crash. So that's basically who pays if the pilot is alive, but you rarely find cases where the pilot is alive. So never pray for an emergency. That's why we're talking about factors that can actually cause you to have an emergency, so that you avoid them. There are a lot of factors. I just decided that we should pick this 7 to discuss about them, because these ones are the little ones, but they cause big issues. I hope you're following, guys. Okay, I can see more persons are joining. Don't forget, give this video a thumbs up. If you've not subscribed, subscribe. Okay, another one is fail safe. Fail safe items, like, you know, when you say something is fail safe, that means when they were manufacturing, they actually put another measure to a point that, if, okay, let me use something practical as an example. If there was a bolt and knot somewhere, they are going to like put double bolts and double knots, like 2 bolts holding a particular thing and double knots, so that in case one of the bolts fails, the other one can actually fit. In case one of the knots fails, the other one can actually fit. So that's a fail-safe item. Most of the time, some items on the aircraft are not fail-safe. Though aviation has tried as much as possible to make a lot of things on the aircraft fail-safe. So if something faults or if something goes bad, there is another system that can actually back up for that thing that goes bad. But still, yet, there are some items that are not fail-safe. These things can cause emergencies, because once one is out, that's all for the flight. For instance, I'm not going to say flying a single engine aircraft is fail-safe, but let's just say flying a single engine aircraft. And like, you know, flying a single engine aircraft, you need to learn how to force land the aircraft in case there's any emergency. But if that was a twin engine, you know that no matter what's going to happen, if you have an engine failure on one, you're going to try as much as possible to come and land fast, so that you don't have an engine failure on the second one. So some items actually on the aircraft are fail-safe, and some are not fail-safe. So these things can also cause emergencies, can cause crashes that nobody can do anything about. I trust you're following me. Now another important thing that I've also made a mistake concerning this: omitting of checklists. You see, omitting of checklists can actually cause a serious crash. I told you guys that in my first solo, I don't know, anxiety and everything, and I discovered that I did not deploy flaps. That doesn't mean you cannot fly flapless, but I was not taught that exercise already. I was later taught, but I wasn't taught that exercise already. And so, just coming on board, there's a particular speed that you have to take off flapless, and there's a particular speed you have to take off with flaps. Now, for you to take off flapless, you need to be about, I think the aircraft I was flying then, you need to be about 80 knots, 80 or 70 knots, something like that. But for you to take off without flaps, or with flaps, correction, you need to take off at 65 knots. So, and I was taking off at 65 knots when with that flapless, when I was supposed to be taking off maybe at 80 knots because I was without flaps. Omitting of checklist. These things are all stated in your checklist. Is there when you pick up the checklist? It's always written there. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, like that. That's how it goes. And you're supposed to put your hand there to make sure you follow the checklist line by line. I made a video concerning how to use your checklist. Go check out that video. Anyways, you just hold it step by step and you keep following and you keep following so that you do not omit anything. A lot of persons that omit checklists have issues just like the one I almost had. Thank God that I wasn't yanking the aircraft so bad. If I had yanked the aircraft so bad, taking off at that speed that I was not supposed to take off, that would have caused like the aircraft to stall. That is taking off like this and the aircraft coming back and like hitting and all that. So if you omit checklists, you're likely to fall into this class of having an emergency or having a crash. Do well to concentrate. In fact, there is an ideology that they always say that when you're using your checklist and you are about, maybe you're distracted, either something distracts you or whatever it may be, go back 2 times. Like if I was using my checklist 1, 2, 3, 4 and I stopped at number 4 and somebody called my attention, hi blessing, I need you to do some blah 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 for me, and I'm like, okay, whatever, I have to go back to number 2 to be sure that I did not omit anything. This thing is going to help you make sure that you are not omitting anything in your checklist. So guys, very very important that you note this. Whenever you're using your checklist, hold it. When you're distracted, go back to like 2 times upward so that you're sure you're not missing out anything to avoid emergencies and crashes. Now, number 6 tip I have for you on factors that actually cause emergencies, crashes, and all that. Lateness. It's now begin to understand the reason why they always say, don't come late, don't come late. If you come late, they say, go back home. If you come late, blah, 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 and all that. What kind of aircraft did you fly in your first solo? I flew a TB9 in my first solo. A TB9 is quite cool. It's actually like a Cessna, but you know, the Cessna is high wing, but a TB9 is like low wing, so it's just the same thing. Fuel capacity, everything is practically the same thing with a Cessna. So if you know a Cessna 172, just think about it like a TB9, but a TB9 is like a low wing aircraft, while the Cessna is actually a high wing aircraft. Now, I was talking about lateness, guys. If you're in the habit of coming late, see, even me, I'm still learning. But if you're going to be having flights early in the morning, if you're going to be having flights, like they've told you already, you're going to be having flights 2 hours, 3 hours before the time, try as much as possible to meet the time earlier. At least come 1 hour early, especially if you're a student pilot. Try as much as possible come 2 hours earlier or 1 hour early so that you can do your pre-flight and do it well. You don't have to rush. Personally, I've gotten to discover that the moment I'm rushing over things, I miss things out. And I'm talking from my own experience, not because anybody said, oh, she did that, I'm telling you basically what happens. I noticed, in fact, there was a time I actually started the aircraft without calling the control tower for startup, and that was totally wrong because I was rushing. Like, I knew I was already late and I just wanted to start up so my instructor would not tell me that the flight was cancelled and all that. And the moment I started up the aircraft, using everything I started up, oh my god, I remembered I had not called control tower to start, and I was like, please sir, I'm sorry for not calling for startup, blah 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 blah. Sometimes they will forgive you, sometimes they will not forgive you, but I'm trying to say, don't come late. If you come late, you're going to be missing out a lot of things. Like a Piper, right? Okay, the Piper 172, I don't know how the Piper, I've not really looked so much about the Piper, but I'm sure about the Cessna. So if you're thinking the way TV9 looks like, you can check out TV9 online, or you can check out the Cessna 172 online. Any of these two will actually do. Like, are you getting me? Are you getting me? Okay, lateness. Let me return back to lateness, guys. Please avoid coming late. Avoid it. Like, I'm begging you. Avoid coming late. If you come late, you're going to be omitting a lot of things. You're going to be forgetting a lot of things, and it's not good for business. It's not good for flying. It can cause emergencies. It can make you do things. You're just trying to rush. You're trying to fill up. You're trying to do this. You're trying. You don't want to be doing that. Lastly, guys, the seventh tip, like the seventh, the seventh tip, guys, bad weather. This one is obvious everywhere. That's why I left it for the seventh, so that we can talk about it and we'll be done with today's live stream. It's actually Sunday chit chat, but we don't really have so much time to actually do the chit chat like we usually do, ask ourselves questions and all that. Maybe we will shift it till tomorrow. I thought this was very important and we should talk about it. Bad weather, guys. When weather is bad, they always say avoid going to fly. They always say, and sometimes you can even be airborne when the weather goes bad. And so what happens when you're airborne and the weather goes bad, it's best for you to look for an alternative, like an alternate aerodrome to land. Don't force it. Sometimes you think the weather is completely okay. When you go check the meter, they're going to tell you that thunderstorm approaching at so time. Just keep calm. Sometimes we want to rush it. I've been there. Like, you want to make sure you fly. If you ask my instructor, he will tell you, like, you want to just make sure you fly. But sometimes the weather can decide to slow things down. Wait for the weather. They usually say in flight school, learn to wait it out. Don't always want to push. No, learn to wait it out. If you wait it out, you will discover that, okay, now when you're even going on, when you're flying now, it's going to be like cool. You're not going to be thinking too much. Oh, let's quickly do and come back. Oh, let's quickly do and do this. You're not going to be rushing. Bad weather is something that has caused a lot of crashes. You see, rain was falling, they were about to land, they slipped off the runway, they were skidding, they slipped, they did this, they did that. Bad weather has caused a lot of crashes. As a student pilot, I'm going to advise you, when you see that the weather is bad, wait it out. There is no rush in life. A good pilot is a pilot that wants to fly today and still be alive to fly tomorrow. You don't want to kill yourself today and not have the opportunity to fly tomorrow. So guys, these are the 7 tips I have for you concerning factors that can actually cause crashes and emergencies. If you enjoyed my sweet speech, TED Talk, just kidding, guys, but thank you so much actually for coming on board to listen to me. Happy Sunday. I didn't realize I was the first. Yeah, Tampico, you were actually the first today. Edo Timothy, welcome on board. You're late. A good pilot is always learning. Correct. A good pilot is always learning, and he lives to fly another day. He doesn't kill himself today. So whatever you're doing, try as much as possible to stay alive. What's that? Oh my god. Try as much as possible, guys, to stay alive so that you can fly another day. I'm going to be meeting you guys in tomorrow's live stream. Like, seriously, come on. Are you hearing the sound like hello? So guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow. We are going to be having the chit chat tomorrow, so don't worry. Just come with all your gists.